Good. Who are you? I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm Steve Vartazarian, attorney. The most catastrophic of injuries is what I've been working on and specializing in the last few years. And I pause to say that because a lot of what I do is so painful. My business is one of connection, and that's how I get my cases done. And I call it the business of persuasion, and that's what we're in. Yeah, you need graphics, you need visuals, but you also need to know how to feel. You got to know how to connect with people. You got to feel their pain. I remember walking into different organizations, bar mixers and board meetings. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen. It's the human condition. We need compassion. We need, recognition. We need love. We need acceptance. And for me, I think I had a hole in my heart that needed to be filled much more than most. Maybe from my childhood, I went through some traumas, nothing significant, just regular playground stuff. And I was left with some insecurities that left a pretty big gaping hole there in my heart that I wanted to be filled and I wanted to be seen. And when I walked into the attorney world, people getting awards on stage, big numbers, people getting out of limos and, planes and big verdicts and 20 million and, all these different things. I was like, this is perfect. I'll never forget. I was like, this is perfect for me. It was in that time, early 2000s. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. The next question was, how the hell do you do it? And that took me another 15, years plus 17, 18 years to figure out. Before you go out into the world and attempt to accomplish whatever's on your mind, you first have to be whole and at peace. You got to know in your heart that you know what you're doing. You make sacrifices, some of which you regret, I realized I'd left a lot behind. Time with kids, wife, my mom. All I ever wanted to do was win trial lawyer of the year and work on these catastrophic injury cases, some of which were very unfortunate. It was my only focus. It is the only thing that I wanted. It's the only thing. I'll say this, it just goes to show if you really put your heart into something and you pay attention to all the details and you do it correctly, you can do anything. With every case and every verdict, it takes a little piece of your heart stays with the case. And you just hope that by the time you retire, you have enough left so you could die happy, I guess. It's the passion, man. It's the level of care where you care more about it than you do yourself or anything else. Everyone at my firm knows we don't retain experts early on. The most important thing is for me to know what happened and for me to believe, be convinced of what happened and be able to persuade. How do you do that? You create a visual. So instead of hiring experts, the first thing I do is I create an animation, be it of the damages or the liability or both. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why everyone should, is because once you go to that extent and to that length where you create a visual of what happened, the case it takes life. It starts breathing. And when you're able to see what happened, it changes everything. Because from that point forward, you can test it, you could take depositions, you could determine whether it's accurate, you give it foundation, and over the course of the next 8 months to a year, that visual of what occurred is so strong that if you use it correctly, man, you could set yourself apart from any other lawyer. And so in this Murillo case, it's a very good example. Kid comes to school, second day of the extended school year, special needs school. He's in a wheelchair. For the convenience of the teacher to get the kid under the desk, Moises, they remove him from the wheelchair, put him in a regular classroom chair, and push him on the desk, tied him to it with a gate belt because he was falling over, and leave him there. That's what they did. And he falls over and breaks his neck and dies. That's the story. Without that animation, there is no way this case would have settled for 18 million, period. Everyone said they didn't know anything. Not the principal, not the vice principal, not other administrative staff of the schools, not the teachers, not the aides, not the nurses, not the therapists. No one said a word. Ma'am, why was Moises taken out of the chair? Well, we don't know. Why did he fall over? We don't know. Finally, I realized why they did it. They did it because the teacher there did not read his IEP. For her own convenience, adapted him to the environment that they had, and that was the motivation to remove him from the wheelchair. And when that clicked, I called you immediately. I'm like, Alex, guess what? I figured out why they did it. Now I know what the motive is. And as you recall, the reason why you guys were so wonderful in this particular case, as in many others, is we changed the animation again and again and again as facts were developing and as experts said different things. And what we were left with, the end product, was exactly what happened. And armed with that, we began taking expert depositions. And when they saw that animation for the first time, it was over. It had so much foundation, like they didn't even know what to do. It was as if it was that morning. When I give my opening statement using a demonstrative such as the ones that I get from you, I could see the jurors, they cringe. They cringe, they feel the pain. And they look at each other like, ooh, that must have been really bad, or whatever have you. I can't say enough about it. Leaving things up to imagination has one value. Actually turning it into animation with foundation has an 8-digit value. It's kind of a big deal when you could see what happened. Without the visuals, it's just left up to the imagination, and for me, that doesn't cut it. I think that's pretty good, man.